Hello, everyone. I'm General Barrye Price, and I'd like to take this moment to usher in a moment of silence. This has been a tremendously difficult year for this movement and for our coalitions. We've lost many members to this pandemic, both domestically and abroad. And so if you would join me for 1 minute in a moment of silence as we reflect on those lives that have been lost. Thank you. For the last 22 and a half years, you've known General Arthur T. Dean as the chairman and CEO of the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America, CADCA. You've seen this innovative leader to build this organization from 9 people to now more than 50. You've seen him choose a board and a coalition advisory committee, breathe life into a youth leadership initiative, as well as a drug-free campaign dinner. You've seen all of this from this remarkable leader. And now we have several of our partners who would like to pay tribute to General Dean.
General Dean, it's Sue Thaw, your public policy consultant. First, I want to say what an honor and a privilege it's been to work by your side for the past 23 years. I knew the minute that I first met you in Atlanta when we were there, it was before you had even started at CADCA, to hear President Bill Clinton announce the authorization of the Drug-Free Communities program, that you were exactly the right person at the right time to lead CADCA. When you started, we were among a large number of substance use prevention organizations in the country, and now we're the outstanding leader, not only in our country, but in the world. I've traveled with you extensively, and I can say that you are not only a gentleman and a diplomat, but a warrior when that's needed. You always make sure that you have exhausted all of your diplomatic options before you decide to go to war with people, but you've done that on behalf of CADCA, its members, the drug-free communities, grantees, and the substance use prevention field. You have great courage and commitment, and I really thank you for the leadership that you've exhibited. You've also built a true family at CADCA with an open door policy where everybody knows that they can go to talk to you about both professional and personal matters. You will give them your best advice, and they trust you to be extremely discreet. Most importantly to me, you've become one of my closest friends over the past 23 years. So on behalf of CADCA and its entire staff, I wish you Godspeed, and I want you to know that General Price will lead this organization and make sure that it continues your legacy, hopefully for the next 23 years at least. So with that, I say, God bless you, Godspeed, and I really do love you, Jen.
General Dean, congratulations on your remarkable 22-year tenure as Chairman and CEO of CADCA. You were among the first national organizational leaders that was introduced to me when I first came to NIDA. It was immediately clear that you were a man of vision, compassion, and dedication to CADCA's mission of building strong communities through strong coalitions. We have had many valuable partnerships between CADCA and NIDA. These include the Practical Theories series, which spanned almost 20 years, NIDA participation in CADCA annual events, and your serving in NIDA's National Advisory Council. Through these and many other successes efforts, CADCA has grown into the premier coalition membership organization it is today, not just in the United States, but globally. Thank you, Art, for your contribution to the field and your friendship, and the friendship to NIDA. We're deeply proud to be a part of CADCA's history, its presence, and its future. My very best wishes.
I'm George Koob, Director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And on behalf of everyone at NIAAA, let me say, General Dean, it has been a privilege and an honor working with you. You've achieved a great many remarkable things at CADCA. Notably, under your guidance, your team delivered vital evidence-based training for the prevention of alcohol use disorder and other substance use disorders. In particular, your work has benefited many young people and has helped shape the leaders of tomorrow. Through your visionary leadership and tireless energy and dedication, you have made CADCA an important resource for communities across America and abroad. General Dean was the recipient of NIAAA's Senator Harold Hughes Memorial Award in 2016 in honor of these accomplishments. On a personal note, I have enjoyed being able to collaborate with you. Your optimism, energy, and enthusiasm for the prevention mission are a model for leadership. We will certainly miss you, but we will always be grateful for your wonderful legacy of service. Congratulations on your retirement, Arthur, and best wishes from all of us at NIAAA. Thank you.
It's an honor and a privilege to join you today to celebrate the nearly 23 years of exemplary service by General Arthur Dean as he ends his tenure as Chairman of the Board for CADCA. As Director of the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, I've had the opportunity to witness firsthand numerous times his dedication and commitment to the mission in helping coalitions succeed in reducing youth substance use across America. Throughout the years, General Dean has been a tireless and relentless advocate in support of ONDCP and the DFC support program. Our shared success is due in large part to his vision and drive to equip local community leaders with the tools to build effective coalitions at the local level. Once again, it has been a privilege and an honor for me to build a friendship with you, General Dean, and I am pleased to join in this well-deserved tribute for your many significant contributions to the field of youth substance use prevention. Enjoy your time with Deborah and the family. Thank you.
General Dean, on behalf of all of us at the Drug Enforcement Administration across the United States and around the globe, I want to join others today in congratulating you on your retirement after more than 20 years as Chairman and CEO of CADCA, a second career following more than 30 years of dedicated service in the United States Army. We at DEA have enjoyed our meaningful partnerships with you and your CADCA team over the decades. While DEA's primary mission is to eliminate the drug traffickers who bring crime and violence to our communities, you've worked alongside us to arm these communities with the tools and expertise that they need to push back as well. We wish you and your wife Deborah the very best in your retirement.
When I think of General Dean, I think of a servant leader. His legacy includes not only a long and impressive career in the United States Army, but also leading CADCA as a champion for community engagement and reducing drug and alcohol use among youth. Under General Dean's leadership, CADCA has been at the forefront of providing essential technical assistance and leadership to a growing number of coalitions across the country. This is particularly important for the Drug-Free Communities program, which is now expanded to over 730 communities, based on his leadership and being able to bring visibility to this program. General Dean's ongoing efforts, resiliency, and courage has truly made an impact in the DFC expansion. General, it's been such a pleasure working with you. I'll always appreciate how you welcome me and CDC to the DFC family as we've begun to manage the program. Thank you for your tremendous contribution to public health and to our nation and to the many youth you have impacted. We will miss you and we wish you all the best.
So when I think about Art Dean and his leadership of CADCA, actually not only CADCA, but his whole leadership in the prevention field, I think back to when he first took over CADCA. He took CADCA over in 1998, which was the same year I became a member of Congress. And over the course of my service as a member of Congress, I got to know General Dean pretty well, and we both really focus hard on the issues of drug abuse prevention. And when I think about him, first of all, if you look back at his career in the military, his service in the Army, not one, but 2 Distinguished Service Medals. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. And when you read between the lines of everything he did in the Army, you can see the man that he is. He has a character and integrity and charisma. He's a brilliant strategist and tactician. He definitely has a way of getting his way. Don't know if that came from the Army or if he was born with it, but in any event, over the course of my years in Congress and then after that, working with General Dean at CADCA, it's been clear to me he is the number one leader in the world of drug abuse prevention. And I've seen him walking the halls of Congress. I've seen him talk to the President of the United States, and he does them equally well. Same as he does when he talks to anybody who's serving one of the coalitions around the country. He really is a dynamic leader. We're going to miss him so much, but I have to tell you a secret, he's going to be a phone call away. In any event, General Dean, thank you for your service. You're a great leader.
For more than 2 decades, General Arthur Dean has brilliantly led the nation's growing army of prevention leaders, working to help more young people grow up drug-free. General Dean is a great leader who is notable for his humility, his determination, and his passion. Under his leadership, CADCA has grown and flourished as a creative marketplace where community leaders, both adults and youth, pursue the goal of getting more and more young people to make the decision not to use drugs. The National CADCA Leadership Forums, training meetings, and the CADCA Network have been a major force bringing about one of the most important changes in youth behavior that has largely been unrecognized. The Institute for Behavior and Health has shown that for more than 4 decades, American youth have created and sustained a positive trend in increasing percentage of high school seniors who have made one choice not to use any alcohol, nicotine, any marijuana, or any other drugs in their lifetimes. In 1983, that figure was 3%. In other words, 3% of high school seniors in 1983 had not used any drug in their lifetime. In 2018, the most recent year we have data for, it was 31%. 3% to 31% over that period of time. And over that same period, the percentage of high school seniors who have not used any alcohol, nicotine, marijuana, or other drugs in the prior 30 days increased from a low of 16% to 58%. Nearly 2/3 of all high school seniors had not used any in that period of time. This data was announced for the first time at the CADCA leadership meeting February 7th, 2017. Why there? That's because it was presented there because that is the biggest and most powerful annual drug prevention meeting in the country. General Dean is the man who has inspired and supported this miracle of drug use prevention. He has dedicated decades of his career to this mission. We now celebrate not only his long sustained hard work, but also his still growing success as more and more young people make the decision not to use drugs. This data shows, and his work shows, that this is not hopeless, and it has got a trend established by youth that we need to support. We don't have to create the trend, it is already there. We carry on the prevention mission he has inspired as we thank him for his many gifts to us, to our country, and especially to our youth. Thank you, General Arthur Dean.
General Dean, what can I say? When I first met you, I was a participant in Meteor Las Vegas. I think that was almost 5 years ago. That's insane. But when I first met you, you asked me for my name, where I was from, and you told me that I was going to be a change maker. But I wasn't really too sure what that meant at the time. But if we fast forward a couple of years, me and you were standing outside of the United Nations building in Vienna, Austria, and you told me that the work that we do not only impacts our own communities, but it impacts the world as well. And so through my years as a CADCA youth trainer, you've taught me and my peers to use our voices to advocate for those not able to use it themselves. And so General Dean, on behalf of the thousands of youth you've inspired to be great leaders, thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Hello, I'm Dave Zook with Fakery Drinker in Washington, D.C. And it's a real privilege to be invited to contribute some thoughts on the occasion of General Art Dean's retirement from leading the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America. I've had the opportunity to get to know General Dean over the past 5 years as he and Congresswoman Mary Bono led the development of the Collaborative for Effective Prescription Opioid Policies. And it's through their vision and commitment that CPOP now has grown into over 80 national organizations working together to confront the opioid epidemic in our nation. I've also learned in that time that the focus and integrity General Dean brings to CPOP are the very same traits that have made CADCA a nationwide and increasingly worldwide force for helping communities, especially our young people, confront drug abuse and set a pathway for lifelong success. Every year I really look forward to hearing from just a few of those people at the Campaign for Drug-Free Kids dinner and really considering how those stories are being repeated over and over across the country. Quite an inspiration, really, for all of us. I'm reminded, too, Abraham Lincoln once said that commitment is what turns a promise into reality. General Dean, you set the commitment standard for all of us and create a reality that will endure long after you move into the next chapter of life. So on behalf of the Fakery Drinker team, thank you and all best wishes to you and your family.
General Dean Brad Mettler, congratulations on your retirement. It's been an honor to be associated with you, and thanks so much for all you've done for the community and for those around you. You're much appreciated, and look forward to seeing you on the golf course. Take care.
General Dean, as your term as Chairman and CEO has recently come to a close, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge your 22 years of visionary guidance, exceptional leadership, and unconditional commitment serving CADCA. In the 16 years our company has supported and witnessed your mission, your stewardship of CADCA has been characterized by innovative ideas and strategic thinking. Your tireless efforts developing community coalitions that involve individuals from key sectors, including schools, law enforcement, youth, parents, healthcare, and media, to establish ongoing training efforts to help address the substance misuse epidemic have been admirable. The outcomes of your stewardship have and will continue to change our country and world for the better. A quiet and possibly underappreciated success is that you've fostered an environment in which CADCA advocates could develop and maintain their own communication and leadership skills. By all measures, CADCA has improved on your watch while cementing its great partner relationships. It is my great pleasure, on behalf of BAV and JSAV, to thank you for your military and civilian service and for all you've accomplished during your time at CADCA. Your energy and devotion will be difficult to match, but you leave CADCA a better organization and on a strong footing for those who follow you.
Threescore and 15 years ago, Arthur Truman Dean was born to Mamie and Larry Dean in a small house in a little town called Waysboro, North Carolina. Named by his grandmother Lula, Arthur, for 5-star General Douglas MacArthur, Truman for President Harry Truman. How apropos that she would name you because you became a general like MacArthur. And you were president not of the United States of America, like Truman, but rather President and CEO of CADCA. The book of Psalms says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Your steps have definitely been ordered. You have worked since you were 8 years old, never complaining about your station in life, but rather you worked hard at everything you did in life. Graduating from high school at 16, going off to Morgan State College in Baltimore, Maryland, joining the Army, and rising to the rank of Major General. Corrie ten Boom said, "If God sends us on strong paths, we are provided strong shoes." I looked the word strong up in the dictionary and would like to rephrase Corrie's quote by saying, if God sends us on strong, forceful, extreme, intense paths, we are provided strong, solid, well-established, firm shoes. This is the perfect description for the paths you have been sent on in life as a decorated general and as President, CEO, and Chairman of CADCA. Your journey has been one of extreme, forceful, extreme, intense times, having served in Vietnam and Iraq. It's definitely been strong. You were also on a strong path when you joined CADCA. You and CADCA have impacted the world for good. But God did not lead you on this journey without help. The shoes He has given you are special. They can't just be any shoes. They have to be perfect. They have to be the perfect size, the perfect color. They are not always the most comfortable, but instead they are made to take you over rough spots and through the ups and downs of life. You have excelled at every endeavor you set your mind to and have been successful. Our children have grown from little girls to grown women watching you lead CADCA. CADCA is dear to our hearts because of you and your dedication to CADCA's mission of fighting substance abuse and creating safe, healthy, and drug-free communities globally. Your family loves you, we appreciate you, and we honor your success at CADCA. A wise person once said, "Don't bother to give God instructions, just report for duty." You, my dear, reported for duty, and a grateful nation appreciates it.
Good morning, CADCA. It is a pleasure to be with you this morning at our 31st National Leadership Forum. But before I start my remarks, let me say thank you, General Price, for a wonderful, kind, warm introduction. And it is a pleasure to have you as a part of the CADCA team and now leading this organization, and I wish you well. When I arrived at CADCA in 1998, I attended my first National Leadership Forum in December of 98, and we had about 650 attendees. And it's been a pleasure to be a part of the journey that has caused this National Leadership Forum to grow from 650, and virtually we're over 3,000. That movement and that growth has been primarily caused by you, and I want to talk a little bit about that now. This virtual forum is something that we have been planning for a long time. We wanted to have it in person, but obviously COVID-19 prevented that. But we have been able to schedule for you some 150 training sessions, both for our youth and the adults. Now, before I talk any further, I would like to stop for a moment to reflect on our youth. Some 15 plus years ago, CADCA saw the importance of our youth and how they contribute to our local coalitions. And when we have a strong youth component, we have a stronger coalition. So we created something called the National Youth Leadership Initiative. And it has served us and you well. In fact, these youth have become some Many of them that we have trained over the years are now adult leaders and contributing significantly. So that relates to our theme for this year's National Leadership Forum, which is Everyday CADCA Trains, Community Coalitions Advocates. Our young people have been wonderful advocates as well as you. And without advocates, this movement would not have grown. See, you have caused the movement to grow not only in size, but in professionalism and to be respected around the US and particularly here in Washington. We are excited about that. When we first started this movement, and when I first joined it back in 1998, we thought that it would take 3 years for a community coalition to become successful and change their community at the population level. Well, we know now that is not the case. We created the National Coalition Academy. We have been training our coalitions to implement CADCA's model for community change and using evidence-based strategies. And we have research from a national institute that says us that if you train these coalitions on CADCA's model, they can go back into their communities and take that information and share it with their members of their coalitions and the sectors, that they can have change beginning as early as 6 months and substantial change in 1 year. So we're excited that this is happening, and we couldn't be more pleased. I want to talk a little bit about now, we saw, and you saw, a need to expand our training even beyond the National Leadership Forum. So back in 2002, we created a summer training. It was to be small. It was to be long and in-depth. It was to provide classes that would go from a half day to a full day. In the beginning, we even had some that went 2 days. And it was called the Mid-Year Training Institute. It was a way for coalitions to get away and have some summer training. And now that had grown from 250 in the beginning in 2002 to 3,000 as well. So we're excited about that. And it's because of your involvement and the work that you've been doing. We also saw that from the very beginning that the National Leadership Forum, and that's why these two trainings complement each other so very well. The mid-year is a way to get in-depth training classes, as I said earlier, that last for a half day, a full day. At the National Leadership Forum in Washington, these training sessions are typically 75 minutes. But we also have what we don't have at the mid-year, the opportunity for you to interact with White House members, with federal leaders and congressional leaders, and to participate in our Capitol Hill Day. And those have served us extremely well. It has caused our movement to be recognized by all the key leaders in Washington. It has caused them to be supportive of it, to participate in it with their intellect as well as their resources. And as a result, our movement is continuing to grow. We're going to have virtual Capitol Hill visits this time, nearly 300 of them. Sue and her team, Sue Thaw, that is our public policy consultant, her team has put this on and have made a major contribution. But without you, they couldn't do that because they use your successes in order to inform Congress of what we're doing. And then we have you go over our Capitol Hill Day, now virtually, to explain that to them and to continue to cause them to be supportive of our new movement. That's why they have funded us in the level that they have all across the federal government in items related to this movement and what needs to be done. So that's how that happens, and we're very excited about that. The year I arrived at CADCA, the Drug-Free Community Act was passed, and that was an act that CADCA asked Congress to pass. And it was designed to provide small grants, as you know, to community coalitions on a competitive basis so they could grow their coalition. And the grants were for 5 years, like another competitive process, and it could be extended for another 5 up to 10 years. CADCA asked at that after 5 years of this program, because we were trying to train all of these coalitions using CADCA resources, that the National Community Coalition Institute be created, added to the program, and CADCA received a grant that we had to compete for to provide the training. And we've been doing that now for all these years. And as I said earlier, we created a National Coalition Academy that is managed by the Institute. And we see the great results that has attained allow you to take your training back into your communities, to your members, and to your sectors, and in fact, receive the kind of outcomes that I talked to you about in 6 months to a year, and we're very pleased by that. Another very important thing that we did along the way, we wanted to make sure that our federal friends, our congressional friends, our White House friends, our private partners, and corporate partners were involved in this movement. They are the benefactors of the movement, so we wanted them to be involved, and they have been involved in significant ways with their intellect and their resources, and we could not be more pleased for that. You're going to hear this form from 6 of the leaders of federal and congressional friends that have contributed. The Office of National Drug Control Policy you will hear from, the National Institute on Drug Abuse you will hear from, the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the Center for Disease Control, and our friends from the Drug Enforcement Administration. Other private partners will contribute significantly to this National Leadership Forum by providing content for training sessions or giving them, by exhibiting, by providing resources, and we thank all of them for what they've done for us. Without our private partners, federal friends, and corporate partners, this movement would not have grown as well as it has and would not be receiving the recognition that it receives, and we're very, very excited about that. But you, the coalitions across the country, have been the main ingredients, I might say, that have contributed to this growth and movement, because you've taken what we have provided you in training through publications, to webinars, to training, and implemented it extremely well and achieved these outcomes and results that we are able to talk about in a significant way. So we're very happy about that. So I want to now just talk a little bit, as I begin to bring my remarks to an end, about what it is that we believe that is so critical that we keep this movement going. First, I must say that without the dedicated CADCA staff, we would not have had a successful movement. Those that are here with me and General Price now, and those that have moved on, have contributed in a significant way, and they've been extremely dedicated to you, and their only purpose was to improve your knowledge and skills so you could create these safe, healthy, and drug-free communities and maintain them over time. And that's what they've done. I want to say thank you to them for that. To the board of directors, we have a wonderful board of directors, some significant national leaders, and they have contributed with their advice and guidance and resource development, and we could not be more pleased. We have, in fact, during my first 6 months at CADCA, I wanted to find a way to involve the coalitions in our work and provide guidance. So I was fortunate enough to create the Coalition Academy, and we brought 12 highly successful community coalitions and a couple of state leaders, NPNs, National Prevention Network, to form our Coalition Academy, Coalition Advisory Committee, and they have been providing great resources for us all these years and continue to do that, and we couldn't be more excited about it. As I said earlier, our corporate, private, and federal partners have contributed in our movement in a significant way, and we could not be more pleased by that. And over the years, we had some very faithful, dedicated exhibitors who come back on an annual basis and provide and share with you the outcomes that are going on so that you can better use that. These individuals and organizations have caused and been a part of the growth and development and professionalism of our coalition movement. They've allowed CADCA to implement our community change model and be successful at doing that. And we couldn't be more pleased by that. Also, I want to say that we have gone international, as you know. That happened back in the mid-2000s. And we've been in some 30 countries, all continents. We are in consultative status with the United Nations. I say that to you, so I wanted you to know that your organization is international, building these multi-sector community coalitions all around the world, just like we do here in the United States and its territory. And so therefore your movement has national recognition, and you should understand that and know that, and we're very pleased about that. So I want to say to you that we are indebted to you, our community coalitions, and all of those that have provided support to us. And that's why this movement is so successful and so professionalized now, and we could not be more pleased. So I want you to enjoy this week. I want you to take advantage of these 150 training sessions. And because it is virtually and recorded by our friends at BAV, if you cannot get it into your schedule during the day, then you obviously can go back and watch it at night, which is an advantage that you have in this virtual environment. I want you to wish you a very productive week. I want you to, even in this virtual environment, to network with your friends and learn new individuals that you have not known before. And I just wish you continued success. And I won't say goodbye because I will have some concluding remarks to make on Thursday, and I will say goodbye at that time. But it's been a pleasure to be a part of your great movement, to be on this journey with you for the last 22 years. I wish you a successful National Leadership Forum, and I know the 31st one will be as successful, if not more so, than the ones in the past. God bless you. Have a great week.
So CADCA, I've assumed this job. I've been with CADCA for now over 4 years, initially starting as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. And since September, I have served as the President and CEO. But it struck me that really what you know about me is my bio. And so what I'd like to do is to give you some context on who is Barrye Price. So this picture is a picture that was taken May the 8th of 1985. I'm the guy with the red shorts and red Houston shirt on. That's my little Renault Alliance, my car. If you could see the windows in the car, it's packed because I'm leaving Houston that day to travel to Indiana to join the Army. I had just been commissioned the day before. These two gentlemen with me, the guy next to me is Stanley Bay, Wilson Bay, my fraternity brother. And the guy that's in front of him is my roommate and my friend since 9th grade, Carl David Holmes. Carl was my roommate for my last 3 years of college. And during my last semester of college, his girlfriend exposed him to crack cocaine. In 2015, October 2015, Carl died 5 days before his 53rd birthday from 30 years of addiction with crack cocaine. So if many of you wonder what brings me to CADCA and what would cause me to jump into this movement, and it really was a failing on my part. When Carl was in struggle, I didn't know the term addiction. I knew that he was experimenting with crack cocaine, and all I knew to tell him was what Nancy Reagan had told me at that time, which was just say no. That's all I had. That's all I was armed with. I didn't know SBIRT. I didn't know about the science of the brain and what happens before age 25 versus what happens after the age of 25. And I knew nothing. I was not equipped to help Carl. And so when Carl died in October of 2015, I remember that I had spoken at the National Leadership Forum, that General Dean had asked me, what am I doing after the service? He might have an opportunity for me. After Carl's death, I revisited that opportunity with General Dean. And so I decided to dedicate the next chapter of my life to remedying the failing that I had with Carl. I couldn't help Carl, but this opportunity at CADCA provides me the opportunity to help scores, legions of others similarly suited. So let me tell you who I am, and let's build out the chart. I'm going to tell you who I am personally, who I am spiritually, who I am educationally, and then finally who I am professionally. Personally, I'm Lois and Billy's son from the state of Indiana, from Barrye, Indiana. I am Tracy's husband. My wife's a psychiatrist, and that's why I'm so emotionally balanced. I'm the father of 13-year-old William. You know, I am an author of 3 books. The last book just coming out on November the 11th of 2020. I am I'm an athlete, a former athlete, 2-sport athlete in college. I played baseball and I played basketball. And I'm a pretty good dude, okay? Spiritually, I'm an ordained deacon. I've been ordained for 39 years in the Baptist church. I teach Grief Share every week, every Tuesday of every week, you know, which is a system of me giving back. I teach Grief Share because I've lost a wife, I've lost a girlfriend, I've lost a child, I've lost both of my parents, I've lost a sibling. And so those experiences, as opposed to turning inward, it allows me to sow seeds to others to help them through their grief process. Educationally, I have a master's, 2 masters, a Ph.D., and a bachelor's of business administration. Professionally, I'm a 31-year veteran of the United States Army, retired at the grade of Major General. I'm a 2-time combat veteran. I'm a former White House fellow. I belong to 3 halls of fame and 1 hall of honor. I've done a lot in my short 58 years of life, but none of that is really who I am. At my core, I'm still that kid that graduated from Barrye, Indiana, Barry Price, or they called me Dino, or as I went to college, they called me Dean. And I believe that I have been answering a higher calling for all of my life. So I live by this personal philosophy. If you were around in 2014, you heard me talk about the flag, or remembering the flag. The flag is family, leadership, ambassadorship, and growth. I believe that families take care of one another. They're firm and support one another, that they're genuinely happy for one another during successes, and they are supportive during failings and difficult times. I believe that leaders lead from the front, that they set the example and they set the tone, always. I believe in being a great ambassador for all of my constituencies and all of those who've invested in me 24 hours, 7 days a week. And I believe that growth should be our only extinguisher of self-improvement. I believe that we never really arrive until our final day when we arrive at our destination. And so we should seek growth incessantly. So let me tell you what I believe in. I believe in making everything count. You know, waste no opportunities. Everything should be towards your end state. I believe in building for the long term and seeking a better way. There's always a better mousetrap. We should seek that. I believe the simple is good. Yeah, we can go complex. Yeah, we can speak in the big $50 words, but simple is better. I believe that loyalty is a 2-way street. It's something that I give first, and then I expect it in return. I believe that integrity is non-negotiable. There's no reason that we should not share the truth. I believe in admitting mistakes, correcting, and then moving on with a smile. I believe that disagreement does not equal disrespect. I also believe that people are a treasure. We're gifted with people. It's an honor and it's a privilege to lead people, and we should see them as our treasure. I don't believe in doing anything dumb on purpose, and I believe that we should not allow others to do anything dumb on purpose. We can provide corrective just by providing a little insight. I believe in taking care of the little guy. The little guy is the person who doesn't have a voice, or who doesn't have a seat at the table. I believe that we should take care of him or her. And I believe in not being constrained by the box. The box is there for a reason, but that box has holes in it. We should remove the walls and think outside of the box. This is where our solutions will come. So here are ways that I think that we can improve our organization. We should all be students of our craft. We should know our business inside and out. We should be expert. We should be open to change. This is a moving target. This is an evolving movement, and we have to be open to change, or we'll risk the opportunity to become irrelevant. I believe that we shouldn't sit at the table unless we're willing to vote. Sitting at the table has tremendous meaning, especially now, so we should vote. We should always seek improvement processes, ways to improve our fighting position, that we should develop, nurture, and coach, and counsel, and mentor our treasurer. We should develop them. And I believe that membership is the coin of the realm, that we should all be members of our organization. You strengthen us through your membership. So here's my focus. We should be in a perpetual state of reinvention. This movement is not static. The specter of drug abuse, or the scourge of drug abuse and drug addiction, is not static. And so if we're going to be capable and be relevant, we have to be in a perpetual state of reinvention. We have to evolve. I want to be in relationship with the field. I've met with more than 60 coalitions to date, and I'm looking forward to meeting with all of you eventually, both virtually and then many of you in person. I'll be your champion here in Washington, D.C. and around the world, and I'll be an avid champion for you. I believe that making your success is my priority, and I will certainly do that. And then finally, I believe in the adult model, which is empowered leaders at echelon to do the work that you've been tasked to do, and then I will play my role in concert with you. So here are my guiding principles. People are the key to our success, are the keys to our success. We should treat them all with dignity and respect. When in charge, I expect you to take charge. When in support, I will expect that you'll be a team player. Anticipate the requirements. There's trial balloons for everything that we're doing these days. And so anticipate and make sure that you're being proactive. Take the initiative. I would ask you to be imaginative and be innovative. Find new ways to do old things. And then here's an interesting one. Don't admire the problem. You know, there are solutions to all problems, and talking about the problem doesn't really get you at the solution. And so let's focus on the solution. I would ask you to meet or exceed the standard, always. And then trust up and down. Trust me here in Washington. Trust the drug czar here in Washington. Trust these associations that are here in Washington that are doing the work, as we will trust our SSAs, our NPNs, and our coalitions locally. And then I'll look forward to hearing your questions. This is my contact information. You can reach me day and night. You can call me, you can email me, you can text me, but I am available for you. And I look forward to serving you, CADCA.